Morning everyone, welcome back to Hills and Haulers Homestead. Homesteader Mike out, and got the day off. Had a few things I had to do today, and I went ahead and took the day off. But while I'm out, I want to show you a couple things here. If you burn wood as a source of heat, this is all slab firewood that we got from a local sawmill. Most of them will charge you just a nominal fee. But if you end up in a situation where you don't have time, like me, unfortunately, to cut your firewood and get it all split up and stuff in time for season, then this is an option for you. And this is all hardwood. There was some pine in there. I've already separated the pine out and burned it off. I do have some trees here and a couple here that are down that I've cut, and I just need to cut those up and split those. But all of this can just be cut and burned as well, and it'll dry out a lot quicker because it's already been sawn, so it'll dry a lot faster than your traditional logs and stuff like that. So this is an option for you that could save you both time and headache and stuff, because if you can get it the slab firewood or the slabs from the old sawmill, you can just bring them home and cut them up to length that you need them. Now, so today, I was thinking about, when I did the last video, I was talking about the chickens and stuff, the meat chickens. And you better get on my berry bed, you daggum little guinea. Daggone guineas. Starting to scratch around in my berry bed, moving all my mulch away. So I was talking about the chickens and stuff, and the amount of feed and stuff that they eat. And that is, of course, with the Cornish cross specifically. When I did the first run, or when we ordered the first run of chickens last year, we went ahead and bought the feed, and I had a custom mix. So I ordered a custom mix from Sunrise Farms over in Virginia, and I ordered a 22% protein. So I think their standard at the time was like 20% for their broiler grower, but I ordered 22%. And honestly, when I went this year, there's an extra fee for custom mix, and I didn't want to, get us, any more cost than what we already had. So they had an 18% and a 21% custom mix, or standard mix that they had. Wonder where my companions were. Come on. They're back here waiting for permission to come with me. So this year when I called, they said that they offer now, they had their standard broiler mix, and they went from an 18%, they had both an 18% and a 21%. And I said, well, 1% is not going to make a difference, from what I ordered last year. So I'll just go ahead and go with their standard mix, all non-GMO, no soy. So I went ahead and ordered it. Well, I drove over there, 2 pallets loaded on a truck, all wrapped in plastic. And when I got home, I took all the plastic off because I had to unload it bag by bag to put in the building. And when I got home, I started unwrapping it. I happened to look down at the label, and it said 18%, and it's 18% protein content. And I thought, man, I got 18%. I ordered 21%. I'm not driving all the way back over there. So I called them, and they said, yeah, there's no difference in price between the 18 and 21%. So you can get, you can use it, or you can bring it back and we'll exchange it. I'm like, I'm not driving all the way back over there. So I went ahead and used it, and I figured, well, if worst case scenario is I buy chick starter, which is 22%, depending on what you get, and I'll just mix in with it. But I didn't want to get into the whole, soy and GMO type stuff if I didn't have to. So I figured I'd do a trial run with it, and we've had, there's no difference in a growth rate of these chickens on 18% protein than there was on the first couple runs of chickens on 22% protein. Now, when you get into the chick starter, or if you're going to order chickens to raise as meat chickens, I'm going to encourage you, to whatever hatchery you order them from, that you get both the coccidiosis vaccine and the vaccine for Marek's disease. Now, coccidiosis is a parasite. It's an intestinal parasite that is always present in their gut. There's a bunch of different things that can cause that parasite to overproduce and cause them problems. They'll end up with like bloody diarrhea and stuff like that, and they can die from it, and it'll spread throughout the flock. But go ahead and get the coccidiosis vaccine, and that is actually what the medicated chick starter. Some folks look at that and say, oh, it's an antibiotic. It's not. If I remember correctly, it's a vitamin B blocker. is the why it's medicated, and it helps prevent coccidiosis. So you can either choose to go with, you know, the coccidiosis vaccine from the hatchery, or you can feed them the medicated chick starter. Now, if you want to feed chick starter, I think it's 22% protein standard anyway. You can feed that throughout their life cycle, because if you're raising them for meat, 8-9 weeks is going to be the max you're going to raise them. And I think they recommend up to 19-20 weeks to feed them the chick starter anyways. Or you can go with the non-medicated and get the coccidiosis vaccine, which is what I would recommend. On top of that, the Marek's vaccine you want to go ahead and get anyways, because Marek's disease is actually spread by wild birds and their droppings and stuff like that. So if you're moving them on pasture, moving them in your yard and stuff like that, they can be exposed to wild bird droppings and get the Marek's disease. So go ahead and just get the Marek's disease and the coccidiosis. Why is that such a hard word for me to say today? Coccidiosis. Go ahead and get those vaccines from the hatchery. Now, if you end up with coccidiosis, you can treat it. There's a medication at you can get it at Tractor Supply or Rural King. It's called Corid, and you put it in their water, but you have to treat the whole flock. And I would prefer just to avoid it. Preventive measures would be better from the very beginning. All right, let me get in here. Okay, so you can see the paths where I moved them along through here, and I want to show you here. This is 24 hours, 24-hour manure load. Okay, and what I mean by manure load is how much they poop in 24 hours on the spot that I have them on. And if you think about it, there's 26 chickens in each chicken tractor. You can see the amount of manure that they put out. So these are these are eating and pooping machines. That's truly what they are. And you want to see that good manure load like that, because that's going to help feed your grass, improve your soil and everything, and it puts needed nitrogen back in there. All right, now I moved them last night to fresh grass, and you can see just in here the amount of manure that's already on the ground. And usually the concentration is right around your feed trough. And I fed them at 6 o'clock this morning, and it's now not even 11 o'clock, and they've eaten this, pretty much all this in here. Now, if you look at this chicken, it's hard to get a good accurate size on these by camera. There's my hand, and if you look at the broad stance on these things, look at the breast on these chickens. It's amazing how big they get. Some are a little bigger than others. They're all about the same age. If you notice, they're not feathered as much as you would expect, because these birds put most of their energy into growing rather than actually feathering. Now there's a hen right there, right here, and you can see the size difference between her and the roosters. And that's how you tell. Look at the comb on the top where she has very little comb, and the other ones have the big comb. And I think we ended up with 4 hens. There's another one right there. So they are a little smaller. I'm guessing these guys are going to amount to about 6 pounds, 6-7 pounds roughly as a carcass. And I mean, they are fat little boogers. And they will be officially 8 weeks old on July 2nd. Today is June 28th. They will be 8 weeks old on July 2nd. And we're going to be processing them on July 9th. So they'll be just about 9 weeks or so when we do the processing on them. They're crazy birds. They really are. But this is the size, and truly we're not seeing any growth difference with the 18% protein versus 22% protein. And nothing has changed. I did nothing else different from the very first run to this run. So again, we're not seeing any difference in growth rates and sizes at this time than we did with the originals on 22% protein, and these are on 18%. So you're safe to go with an 18% protein and raise them from start to finish. Or if you choose, you can go with the chick starter and raise them from start to finish on that. So they will grow a lot between now and then. Look at that behemoth. And like I said, the camera really doesn't do the size comparison on them anymore. They are big chickens. Now, stinks too. Man, there's a difference between these chickens' poop and like regular chicken poop. And it's not so much because of the concentration of them being in this tractor. Their poop really stinks because they eat a lot of protein. They eat a high protein diet, that being the 18% all the time. And eat and grow, eat, grow, eat and grow. So yeah, you definitely get more of an odor with them. And that's why raising these on pasture is a much better option, because if you try to raise these in an enclosed area where you're not moving them every day, you are going to have to clean that area every day. So putting them on pasture serves several purposes. One being that you don't have to clean up after them every day. And number two, it puts them on fresh grass. So that's the whole premise of why, you know, you raise them on pasture, so they can forage what little bit they do forage, and that they can also be moved each day very easily to help avoid having to do all the cleanup and stuff. So, and you can see clear back here, they started clear back out there over that little knoll right there, and you can see the difference in the grass. See how green that is versus right up to here, and it'll look brown and yellow and look like they've killed it. But really, once that grass takes back off, man, it'll green up. You'll have the greenest grass in the neighborhood. So, you know, yesterday I was listening to the farm report, and they were talking about wheat harvest this year in the United States out west. And when you do wheat harvest, like winter wheat, you're looking at, I think it was 108 bushels per acre is what they average when they get it. So 108 bushels per acre. In Oklahoma and Texas right now, they're averaging about 12 bushels per acre. So a significant decrease. There's actually been some farmers just abandon their fields and their crops because, and this was actually off the farm report, because the cost of fuel and the operations cost outweigh what they're ever going to get off these fields. So, you know, wheat being one of the grains that we use for just about everything, including animal feed and our own consumption. With the war going on in Ukraine, there's a huge decrease in the amount of wheat coming out to, you know, globally. And then the droughts out west, which is what's contributing to a lot of this today. So you get like parts of Kansas, like southern Kansas, southwestern Kansas, southeastern Kansas, they're pretty horrible with their wheat as well. But northern parts, central and northern parts doing, you know, fairly decent. And I think they said, about 60 bushels per acre. So still almost half of what they would normally get off of an acre of wheat. So you got to worry about that when you're thinking about raising these kind of chickens, because that all calculates back to and adds to feed cost. And of course, with fuel prices being the way they are, transportation costs, everything is affected. So, you know, you're going to get that increase in price in everything. And I look around here locally, and this is what I don't understand. So our economy is shit. It is. It truly is. It's bad. And, you know, there's no denying that. There's nothing improving. If it is, it's lost pretty quickly. And local hospital up here, they're doing a project right now. They're adding a parking lot, 350 spaces. Then they're putting a almost 1 mile loop sidewalk around the campus of the hospital as a fitness trail for their employees and stuff. Anybody can walk it, but it's mainly meant for the employees. So now think about this: 350 spot parking lot, and a 1 mile loop sidewalk for a fitness trail. $5.7 million. $5.7 million. There is a huge nursing shortage nationwide. They bumped up the pay on a lot of nurses during the pandemic, and they still are paying pretty good premium prices. But the problem with that is the reason they have to pay these premium prices is because for so long they've not paid nurses a good living wage. Now you might say, I know nurses who make $30 an hour. Okay, they do. Some of them do. But when you get what's called wage compression, where every year they're recruiting out of those nursing schools, and what you're making at as a 5-year nurse, after 5 years busting your butt as a nurse, they're bringing in new graduates making as much, if not more, than you. And that's called wage compression. And so what they're doing is they're bringing in new nurses, unexperienced, with, you know, that's going to require all this training, and they're paying them more than the seasoned, experienced nurses that they have. So they're doing nothing to, and that's not just healthcare, but that's just, you know, from a healthcare standpoint. So, you know, I look at this kind of stuff and I'm going, You know, $5.7 million for a freaking parking lot and a sidewalk, a mile-long loop sidewalk as a fitness trail. Why don't you invest your money a little better? There's wiser investment and wiser ways of doing that to recruit more staff, retain your seasoned, experienced staff, and improve your patient care services all the way around. But they're just not doing it. And you look around, and that's just one example, because I had a doctor's appointment this morning and I was up there for the first part of the morning. But you look at that and then look around here at all these other places, and there's no stopping it. Even with the economy being in shambles, inflation being the way that it is, you know, fuel prices being the way they are, they're growing around here immensely, and it's not stopped, it's not slowed. Any kind of slowing of or delays in anything, they're still relating back to COVID. There's nobody saying, well, you know, fuel prices and economy, so we're just going to stop, or we're going to delay this, we're going to delay that. None of that's being done. So, you know, if they have that kind of money and the banks are willing to put up that kind of money in the times that we see right now, then that's fine. That's on them. But as us being private citizens, non-business owners and stuff like that, who should continue to work 40 plus hours a week and do what we do to maintain ourselves and keep our lives going, you know, we have to look at other ways of cutting back. We have to look at ways of being more frugal, to save more money, to stretch that dollar, to make that dollar go farther. And, you know, I'm not saying you can be an irresponsible business owner. It's not what I'm saying. But, you know, when they tout the economy being as bad as it is and everything going as bad as it is, it's like 3.4 trillion, 3.2 or 3.4 trillion of retirement has been lost already. 3.2 or 3.4 trillion dollars, the highest in history of our retirements. I can't tell you, I think we've lost over $8,000 just in one retirement so far. And that's just in the last 12 months. So, you know, people are just busting their butts and they're losing out. And we're expected to continue and function in a system that's built to where we work ourselves to the bone to be able to retire comfortably. And we live an average of what, 11 years after retirement? Come on. Folks, we got to do better. We had supper last night. Had chicken, had peas, had zucchini. Everything on my plate, everything on our plates came from right here. Grown, processed, and harvested, processed right here. And that is the goal, to work and continue to be able to do that and do more and more and more of that. And that's what we're striving for. But if you're looking to raise meat chickens, I highly encourage it. Reach out, send me any questions that you have. I'll cover it in a video if need be, but it's not difficult. You have to kind of weigh your options and stuff like that with feed and locations. But in the meantime, you can do it, and that's what I want to see more of. So that's what we're going to always encourage. In the meantime, keep working to starve that system before that system starves you. Take care, stay prepared, and God bless.